I'm Scott Johnson.
I'm George Cattermas. We're both technical agronomists for DeKalb and Asgrow in southeast Iowa.
George, we're getting to that time of the year. We're getting into the middle of August now. Guys are starting to ask, what to expect for harvest timing. What do we start looking at? I mean, how do we start estimating where blacklear is and ultimately where harvest may start?
Well, a lot of times, right when it's silking and pollen is first starting to shed, if you remember to write something on the calendar then, that's going to be approximately 60 days plus or minus 3 days to black layer.
Yep. So, and actually we can kind of figure that. I kind of remember it this year when we started seeing silks because it was right around the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And that's for us in this part of the state. That was actually a little early for us. We see it shortly after the 4th a lot of times, but this is actually started to see a few tassels before the 4th. So, but yeah, if you put 60 days onto the 4th of July,
we're going to have some corn that's maturing right around Labor Day. But, maybe you want to explain a little bit what physiological maturity actually is, or what is the black layer?
Yeah, the black layer itself is actually when the cells at the base of that kernel that are attached to the cob collapse.
Okay.
And that's what creates the actual black layer. And at that point, the bridge is sealed off, the tunnel sealed off. You're not putting anything more in the kernel. Once we're black layered, what do you use for rule of thumb? Black layer is going to be somewhere around 32, maybe 35.
32 to 35% usually, and you're not going to want to combine at that, but dry down with that, how fast could it dry down? If we get in early September and we've got temperatures in the 80s, how much could we dry down a day?
Well, I mean, an easy point a day. We get some 80-degree temperatures, some low humidity.
We could be doing 2 points a day.
Almost 2. So, so that first part of dry down may go pretty quick.
I think we will be starting early this year.
So if we're at full dent, one of the things that a guy can start to do is kind of keep track of how we're progressing to get to physiological maturity or black layer, and that's following the milk line. And kind of a rule of thumb is it takes about 20 days for that milk line to drop from the tip of the kernel, which would be the cap of the kernel, down to the base, towards the tip. So if it's 20 days and we're monitoring it, you can kind of stage how far that goes. So if you're at a half milk line, you're about 10 days away to get to black layer.